Kill me now, bitches.
Appropriate.
I'm sorry about the cat butt. I hope this isn't against Twitch terms and conditions.
You remember that time with Monstro's butthole?
Good God.
I remember various times with Monstro's butthole.
I just remember your face.
Auto-focused directly.
Artie,
I've
no,
said it before and I'll say it again. Yikes.
You can't.
I thought you were talking about the time he just obliterated your carpet.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
No.
That's my favourite. I enjoyed the one where it just like went on his bum.
So, team, you're mourning your friend. What are you doing? Yes. What is the plan? The camp celebrates around you. Well, you're kind of off and quiet and off to the side.
Do you think her mother knows a way to bring her back?
This does. And I'm going to make her do it, and then I'm going to kill her.
You don't even know that she can do it.
I know that she has healing magic.
Healing is... It's on paper, it sounds very similar, but I promise you they're two very, very different things.
I know that she's not the most powerful priestess in Narashiro for nothing. I know that there has to be something extra there, and I think this is it.
So let's say you barge in there with a corpse slung over your shoulder, and she can't do it, and she won't let you leave.
Then I will kill her, and I will leave.
What if we think things through a little bit differently?
What
is
if
it?
we snuck in and kidnapped the priestess and brought her to the body so that she didn't have guards everywhere? What if that?
Why don't we go for someone a bit less defended? What did we spend all this time pretending Serena was? It would be fitting if the healers of this city were the ones to bring her back, seeing as she pretended to be a Lamia all of this time. It will be a rare ability, I'm sure. Perhaps only the leaders of wherever this priestess, this church might be, but surely one would think it would be easier than backing the church that has been fortified, that we have already been to, and is covered in driders.
Surest bet that the priestess can do it.
Yes, she
I
might.
don't know what kind of time we have.
She might be able to do it, but there's no point going for us only to die.
From the legends you've been kind of listening and talking to about the magic, at least, you know, it's kind of achievable magic to bring someone back from the dead, you know, a little more than a week. So you'd have to act quite quick. At least under conventional means.
Spend one day trying your plan. And if your plan does not bear fruit, then we go with mine.
I will not simply suicide this church.
It's
Serena.
not suicide if we make a plan.
The last time we had a plan, we all nearly died. I am not saying this because I do not want to save Serena. I do. I simply do not want the rest of you to die. Or worse, we save Serena only for her to die again, alongside us.
What? How do you propose we get the priestess alone?
How do you propose we threaten the priestess? What do we have to threaten her with?
Indira looks down at her axe and then back at you.
She is called the Mad Priestess. Conventional methods may not work. Unfortunately.
Even crazy people bleed.
Right, yes, but
that even crazy people fear death.
Some crazy people just die. Look at Serena. She charged death head on. Bravely. She didn't run. She didn't fear it. She wouldn't have given up before the end had she been offered her life. Crazy and proud is a dangerous mix.
I asked you a question.
No.
I'm sorry, Indira, but it's no from me as well.
We should look for a way in which we can save her safely.
She makes eye contact with Gil. Imagine that's Vale. Because that's what this feels like to me. What would you do if that was Vale? What would you do?
But it's not Vale.
To me, it is.
Then do what you've got to do.
I tried to do what I have to do. And Vale stood in my way. I'm trying now to do what I have to do, but both of you are standing in my way.
I'm not standing in your way. I'm sat right here.
I couldn't just let you die. I'm not strong enough to save you in that church. I can't stop that many enemies. And I can't simply watch you be torn to pieces. You would have done the same thing if it was Gil wanting to head through that portal with my body.
I'm not Gil. I can fight.
Gilwyn can fight.
Not like me.
No, he uses his brain. Look, why don't we go and speak to number 5? We have imposed on her a lot already, but she understands what these teleportation circles are. Number 2, is it?
The one you
Number
met in
2.
the Shadow Cult is number 2.
And number 2.
She understands a lot about these teleportation circles. She also is researching the shadow cultists. She may know of a way in which we can bring her back through the shadow cultists. Alternatively, we may somehow be able to work a way to lure this priestess to the arena. She clearly knows how to operate the teleportation.
Okay, yes, let's do that.
The difference.
Let's go.
The
right
difference.
Now, let's go.
We can't go right now. It has barely been a few hours. We need to wait for the arena to be deserted.
Let's go talk to number 2 right now. Time
Very
is
well.
not on our side, from what I understand. So I'd like to get a move on.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Let's go.
Okay. Battered and bruised, You stumble your way up through the city, out through the celebrating slave resistance with Serena's body.
Ver would drop off the. He'd just leave the head of the WARSTRIDER in the camp.
Fair. As you're leaving, big dick energy style. Badasses don't look at explosion style.
Yeah.
I don't just like leave it on like a count on like a table. Yeah. You don't need to roll to travel through the city or anything. You have your disguises. You know how to travel through the city, even though you are carrying Indira, Serena. It might give a few looks, but you can wrap her up. You can do something, right? It would make sense you would wrap her up, like You get to the Shadow Cult, hidden away in the noble district of the Drow. This comfortable little garden grove hidden behind a herbalist and spa of a little community. And it would be Tanuma number 2 who would see you first. Usually people don't pay much attention to a lot of you because you've got Serena with you. She noticeably sees this, that you don't have Serena, and would approach. If you remember, she is the second of the Tanuma clones, but she's dyed her hair black, wears it long. She looks like most of the other noble drow who are here, wearing fairly extravagant dress, carrying a book that is very neat and full of notes. And she would approach with a little bit of concern in her eyes. The Tanumas you've known to be quite emotional for a drow. She doesn't say anything when she approaches. I imagine there's a bit of a silence.
I think maybe we could use your help.
Let us talk somewhere quiet then. And she will turn and lead you towards a little area here that she's been kind of using as her chambers. You may notice, the more magically inclined of you, so Gilwyn, there's sort of kind of a change in the air when you enter this little... all this kind of like... There's either tents or they're almost like rooms dug into the rock wall here. And this kind of has a shawl over the top. You think some kind of magic to kind of hinder divination would likely be what she's cast here, a kind of magical aura on the place. The inside is not like her lab at all. There's definitely a lot of effort going into not to be like that, but there are books, there are notes. It's quite minimalist. And she will sit, it's like a big long bench of stone along the back wall, and will ask, it would be easier if you explain everything now.
Indira would take Serena's like wrapped up body and lay it super gently down and unwrap.
You're coming to me for help returning her, I assume.
We had a couple of ideas which you might be able to assist in.
I really shouldn't help you.
I know.
But I can... Maybe... There is a way I can do this. There is a way. I don't know how dangerous it would be to me, and probably dangers that you could easily surpass. I'd need to get back to my lab.
I will take you to your lab.
There's the chances that the Daimau's forces have waiting for me to return there, assuming I'm not dead, or waiting for you to return. It could be dangerous.
We have killed or ran from anything that we couldn't in this city and around it. We can get you there safely.
She nods, or is not the most confident nod, and does let out a kind of heavy sigh. Okay, you have transport. It's a way away.
We have one of the large cargo beetles, but it's away from here. We'd have to head to the Weaver camp.
I don't think they'd appreciate me coming there, but I suppose they
We'll bring
wouldn't.
the beetle to you.
Okay. You understand the consequences. You understand the weight of this. Oh, it's not worth going over. If you come back, I can. We can go to my lab, and I can try. I can try something.
Thank you.
No guarantees.
You are very kind to do this for us.
She doesn't nod or anything at that, but yeah, she's quiet. I'd imagine you'd leave and get the beetle, yes?
Indeed.
Okay. That again, not really a troublesome thing to do, right?
Big yawn. Big yawn,
Big
Mr. Dean.
yawn.
Big yawn, Mr. Dean.
Sorry, just looking at stuff. You come back with the beetle. You load both Tanuma number 2 and Serena very gently on the back of the beetle and start on the way out toward Tanuma's base. It's quite a way away. Like she said, a number of weeks. I don't exactly remember how much. Probably around 3 to 4, probably a bit less because you know exactly where you're going. She can guide you a bit. She would be quite quiet. Unless any of you would explicitly be trying to talk to her, she would be rather quiet. She looks mostly at Serena, clearly thinking to herself a little bit. And,
I think Vale would want to speak to her, but he doesn't really know what to say. And he'd just be like, "How are your sisters faring?"
I know that number 1, the original, the one birthed, is so furious that she turned away from the lot of us. I left that battle quite easily, all things considered. Serena, actually, was the one who messed with my mind, and that was, in the end, a good thing. Number 4 led number 1 out. The lightning of your friend there continues to burn her, and now she can find no peace. So, she continues. I don't exactly know what her plan is, but we've lost contact with her, and I've lost contact with 4 as well. She was always slower than the rest of us. I think that she is a little hopeful. Number 5 made some friends and was working on some research about a new stage of life, about how the soul worked. I think that's what number 4 is continuing to work on in number 5's stead. I don't know if it will work any. But we are not in contact anymore. Probably for the best. Safer that way.
I wish that that the surface and here could live in peace, and that we didn't have to do this.
You know, she thinks for a little bit. It's a bit of those elvish pauses, and she nods. I think maybe in time. That's why we surrendered. Maybe in time. Not every one of us is so obsessed with. You aren't one of us. You haven't lived with every story as a child being about how you are a devil, how your people cast us out and turned us into monsters, and how the only way we can come back is to destroy you, subjugate you. It's something that most of us believe in. Correct or not, and that's neither here nor there. Legends are powerful. I don't even know if there's all that much truth to the whole story of Idrith and the sun and the moon and the bastard king. I don't know. I don't think that matters more than the message it's always been sending out.
I don't really know that much about Iverith or this bastard king.
I could teach you, but it was never my specialty.
I think I'd like to hear about it as you know it.
She would
Maybe-
actually be okay with that. Sorry, continue. I thought you'd stopped.
Maybe one day in the future, I could pay you back. I presume you'd like to see a floating city?
She smiles a bit at that, a bit wistfully. She says, you know, there's actually a little bit of smuggling that does happen from the surface. Mostly books I'm interested in. Your city has always sounded quite beautiful in prose. I don't know how true that is, of course, but anything can be beautiful, I think. So, maybe if everything goes well, maybe. She shrugs a bit. But, you know, while you're traveling, it's a plenty of time to discuss things, you know? She would be actually quite happy to tell you some of the old legends, you know, the kind of stories that you're told as a child about Ivrith. To Vale, it's all very familiar. Not only are these things that were taught to you as a sun elf, but it's all from the opposite perspective, right? You heard of how Idrith was a moon elf who, in your stories, you know, attempted to seduce Iraldin, the king of elves, and the god of all elves. Other elves worship them as the god, as you know, worship the sun. But how that was all a ploy for this world domination, taking the world captive. They see it the other way around. They see the love is quite genuine in the way the usurper elves tell it. But she cannot convince him that her plan to protect the world via keeping a tight grasp on all the creatures of the surface is not something that he would accept. And how he, the sun, I actually have it written somewhere, but it's I believe the bastard sun, the traitor king, and the lonely moon work together to attempt to destroy her, that leads her to ascend. Whereas in your legends, she is cursed into this horrifying spider form. She ascends into a greater form. And her loyalists, which are never really mentioned in your stories, according to their stories, it's like a whole civil war in the Moon Elves. Which doesn't really fit what you know about Moon Elves being a very protection-based society, but from their perspective, it's just a different form of protection, actually willing to go to a length that will make a change. And then they snuck away to this sort of place, and how there's actually more Drow Elvish gods than you knew. There are a few others. There's not only the other forms of Idrith, but a god that claims to be her son but isn't actually, and stuff like that. How there is a god that represents the primal rage inside everyone. There's a bit more to the faith than you knew. I don't know if there's anything in particular you'd be interested in finding out about.
I don't think so. I think it's just interesting to hear it from...
Yeah.
Ollie.
Exactly, yes.
Silently to myself, I'm going to attempt to... I'm going to do it. I'm going to cast Sending to Serena.
Okay, can you click Sending real quick?
Planes of Existence.
Can you cast me an Arcana check, please?
Any distance, even, yeah. There's a
Arcana.
5% chance that magic doesn't...
I'm looking that. That's better.
When you cast Sending, there's a connection that's made. You can always hear whether the message connects, whether or not someone replies to you.
It's like the static in Stranger Things.
And you do feel a connection, although it doesn't feel like... And this is all feelings, but that's really how Gilwyn is. It doesn't feel like Serena, if that makes sense. There's definitely a connection.
Okay. I'm going to say, please enjoy these few moments with your mother, Serena, because you won't be staying long. You belong with us and with Indira. We won't be long. I think that's 25 words.
That sounds right to me. Okay.
Do I get a chance to reply? Or
No.
not? No, I didn't think so.
Okay.
Oh, he's like, no, you did!
No! I'm having a real hard time finding something that I didn't expect to have to find. That's life.
Oh no, I've just realised it says the creature needs at least 1 intelligence, which means it didn't get through.
Way, I'm done. Bye.
That's cruel.
Is there anything else you guys would, even amongst yourselves, sort of, because you've got 3 weeks, right? You're traveling on Beetleback. I quite like that you're basically, not so much forming a bond with Tumatu. I mean, she's never really said why she's willing to do this and stuff like this. I think Vale's kind of on the head where it's like oh, that's just kind, She's not necessarily evil. But I kind of like that you're at least talking a little bit. She's happy enough to share these stories.
I think, end of the first week, Vale he pulls out this little book. It's old, hundreds of years old. And he's like, it's not really that interesting, but you said you liked books from the surface. I was given this when I was a child. It's just about etiquette for acolytes. You might find it interesting of what it's like living in the floating city.
She would happily accept it, and she would, in a very like. It seems that some effort has gone into not that you really knew Tanuma, but Tanuma Tomb is definitely very subdued. It might just be the very sadness of what's going on and being kind of empathic to that. But she does light up at this, and even the first thing she goes on about is the differences between Drow Elven and Sun Elven writing, right? She is very much interested, and would quite happily read this. At some point, quite a bit later, she would actually ask how you guys met. Kind of referring to Serena, but it's kind of open. If I would understand if you didn't want to share any knowledge with me. But there is a chance I am marching to my death, so I am asking the questions I'm curious about.
Why don't you tell us how you met Serena, Indira?
Well, she is not like the other merfolk. She was always outcast, and she was even literally outcast, cast out from her school. And I was always one for the water. And if you can't tell, I'm a bit of an outcast myself. We made fast friends. She was young and I was young. I didn't have a family. She didn't have a family. I've known her for as long as I can remember.
You have a family now. He'd reach forward and squeeze Indira's hand.
She'd squeeze back, but she wouldn't say anything.
Something of note, I don't actually know if you would let her do this, but while you've been traveling, Tanuma has been applying oils to Serena's body. I don't know if you would let her kind of tamper with it.
Are you preserving the body?
Yes. It is quite evident that Serena is saturated with fell magic, if not completely fell herself, which I'm curious to see whether her body even would rot. The fell magic is magic of death in a way. This is why I have been studying it. It's very fascinating. But just in case, I'm going to need her in as good condition as possible. Any contamination could be dangerous.
What is it you intend to do?
I don't want to get your hopes up. It's very likely that, well, we know that you didn't do a very good job going through my base. It's likely that the Daimau's henchmen did a better job, because they knew that a contingency plan. We cloned ourselves many times, but the most elite of the Daimau's forces, herself, the Mad Priestess, we went under preparation to clone them in worst case scenarios. The cloning equipment should still be there. If at least damaged, then I can repair it, as long as Serena's body can be preserved long enough. I'm not a cleric. I don't have the magic to do it flawlessly.
Is there anything we can do to help?
if the Daimao's forces are there to barrel through them. It's been quite some time, but from what we knew of her, she would have absolutely gone to ransack my base the moment she thought I was dead.
And this, you're not a cleric. You want to be perfect. I have a link to some form of divine energy. Could you utilize that to perfect the process?
This is science, not magic. But maybe. If the equipment's broken, I'll need everything I can. We're just seeing how looted it is.
I suppose yes.
Alrighty. You keep on tracking on.
That's the beetle train.
Beetle train. Well, you've got one beetle. If there were more beetles, you could have a beetle train.
Legit beetle train.
You approach the cavern walls where Tanuma's base sits. You go through the burnt fungal forest. You go to the cavern walls where you know this base sits. And the illusion around the place is broken. Admittedly, you only can really see these things because you know it's there. Compared to the grandness of a underrealm cavern wall, being uncountable numbers of feet high, you can see the window up in the wall. You can see the doorway. It looks like the entranceway has been breached by some powerful magic. It's sort of blown open with rubble all over the place. The statue that once stood there is like all in very tiny chunks, and you see creatures amassing. They look like they're coming out of the entryway, carrying things, anything they can. Books that weren't too badly burned, equipment, gears, cogs. These creatures look like mechanical orbs walking on long tentacle-like tendrils, very awkwardly. They kind of sway and bob with all these arms that are kind of folded to the inside. They're very strange looking. And they wouldn't actually notice you in the darkness quite a ways away. There's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
What are those, Tanuma?
I have absolutely no idea.
You
They
didn't
are-
make them? I thought you made stuff like that.
I made better stuff than that.
Oh, right. Sorry.
It's not the Daimao's forces, and if she had another artificer, we'd know of it.
It's not the Daimao.
This is I suppose, a 4th party.
Could it be one of the other races?
They could be dwarven.
Do they like bear resemblance to Durga?
I mean, they're orbs,
In-
right?
Yeah, but I mean like I don't know whether it's as simple as like similar shaped plating.
That would be an intelligence check for that. Yeah. No, it's you can absolutely do a roll for it. It's not obvious, right?
Luckily, I'm a real intelligent Mr. Elf.
It is complete. I mean, first of all, you're looking at them in darkness, right? But they are completely strange. They don't really fit anything.
It means a gnomish home.
It wouldn't stand to reason that Indira had seen anything like this in all of her travels.
You can give me an intelligence check. There's a chance.
I'm not the smartest, but we'll see.
What do you mean? You're really intelligent.
From your sailing, right? You've sailed near the breach before, which is very dangerous. You only really do it when you're running away from someone or you're trying to cut a lot of time. You do a wide berth around it because unspeakable aberrations come from the breach. Tentacled creatures that can float. They have very strange proportions. These are mechanical looking, but shape-wise and the way they're moving kind of make them look like a breach creature, right? An aberration or something of the sort. Which can be quite dangerous because they're quite unpredictable and often have some sort of, it kind of hurts your head to fight them, that sort of thing.
feel
got
like
some-
I've seen one of those before, only more organic.
Like
A flesh version.
Tenuma's face is like,
it sounds kind of grim.
through really staticky kind of speakers coming from them. They were kind of silent, though they were making a bit of noise moving around. This language that none of you knows. It's just kind of this garbled, staticky mess comes from them when it seems that they see the lot of you. It's kind of hard to see which way is the front, but all of them turn kind of towards you. And I got to set up a battle map. I realized you were on Beetleback, and I didn't do that.
Charge!
Charge forward.
Please tell me we were long rested.
Yeah, it's been 3 weeks.
No, we were not long rested. We stayed up that entire time. Or I don't have 693 hit points, as much as I might wish it.
Am I able to put 2 or 3 ticks into learning Undercommon?
Yes. What do you have?
Would you really have been spending the time?
Would you be spending the time? And you don't have a teacher. Riley was your teacher, and Riley isn't with you.
Sits there with the book going hum num shivai, hum num shivai, hum num
Yeah,
shivai.
you don't have a book. You had Riley, and Riley isn't here right now.
We don't have a book? Oh.
No, Riley is Indira's teacher. It also kind of makes more sense that you would be kind of focused.
I feel like
On
with
task.
3 weeks on the back of a beetle, Indira would be that time, but she also would be very anxious.
Yeah.
So.
You could roll it either way, but there's no Riley. So, hopefully I set this up in a way where you actually can see them, but you'll have to tell me. We'll most likely do a couple of turns of combat and then go for a break, but that's okay, because we love each other. That's why.
I do love all of you.
I love you.
Everyone except for Ian, which is why his
And I
characters always die.
love you, Artie.
No, you can't quite see them, so let me scooch the beetle
So
forward a couple
cute
of
and
steps.
fluffy.
There you go, you can see a couple of them there.
I can. Oh my god,
You're
is this with dark
awkwardly
vision?
outside of... Yeah, there's no light out here.
Yeah,
Well,
real
there's a
dark.
little light of the Aether Crystal, but not enough for you to see quite clearly because of the kind of overhangs of the rock and things like that, right? Yes, you were before I even, shot the gun. Initiative rolls, please.
That's why I rolled a 20, you see? Because I was like really taking
You had the initiative to roll initiative. Yeah, I get it. Top memes.
Oh, hello.
Ah, fully.
Gonna need an Indira initiative.
And Serena, we're missing a Serena initiative.
Oh, come on.
I suppose there should be a Tanuma initiative.
The Numa.
Where is she? There you are.
Oh yes, she has an actual token as well.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah,
But-
same difference.
Does the job.
Whoa there, Mr. Beale. Whoa
I
there.
know, there. It's not...
He's flighty.
He's
flighty.
anxious. Yeah, she's fucking fast too, is the funny thing.
Had to
It's
witch
Vale
it.
first. As these creatures kind of turn and this kind of noise comes from them. Very disorientating.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dash! Bonus action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I made it!
As you start getting closer, little
I fear no
arms that are folded
tentacles.
up start to flip out. Some of them have saw blades, some of them have grabbers, some of them have just sort of sickles.
Vale draws the rapier,
Uh-huh.
swishes it down. You guys see this pinpoint of golden light that swells and leaves a trail as it smashes down
Especially in
into
the
the top.
dark, yeah.
Yeah, you get the full whatchamacallit? You know what I mean.
Oh! yes, Naga's true. Indira, if you wanted to learn, Tanuma could have been teaching you Undercommon if you would be interested.
I feel like I would be interested, but
Yeah.
I would probably only learn half as much as I could because of
I would also say, yeah, and she's doing other stuff.
and sadness and whatnot. But I only
Yeah.
need one more tick, and then I know Undercommon, boys.
Yeah. So you'll learn it on the way back.
Nice.
Assuming there
really
is a way back.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Assuming you know how.
Yeah, that's an absolutely massive strike. The orb is like, on these all spindly mechanical legs that are kind of all these many segments. And it kind of makes it wobble and shift as you hit it so hard.
And then I'm gonna jam New Faithful right. Oh no, I bonus action dash. Never
You
mind.
bonus
I knew
action
the reason I
dash.
didn't do it straight away. Problem is, if you leave it like more than 6 seconds, my brain just refreshes. I'm actually designed for D&D now. That's it. I just have 6 seconds to gone.
Tanuma is going to slide off the back of the beetle, take off her heels, and walk. She's a sensible combatant.
Fighting with her future bae.
She's also not, early Tanuma wore jumpsuits and
Yeah,
big old boots.
I'm wearing enchanted Tanuma leather armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's so wrong.
But she actually doesn't get within attack range.
I also like the way you phrased that, made it sound like you were wearing leather armor made out of Tanuma skin.
Yep. Played him.
Oh, Tanuma leather. Oh,
Rimworld-esque.
Oh dear.
very. God, that's such a good fucking game.
Gilwin. Yeah, Rimworld is like always a banger.
I think it's my favorite game.
Really?
It would be a good choice, honestly. Can't argue with that.
Maybe if it was multiplayer, I could really get into it. I just can't.
Oh, super.
I've only played it like a teeny bit, but I just can't. Not for me. I need
There
multiplayer
was
games.
mods, but apparently they're really shitty.
Yeah, I don't think it would work, right? Some
Yeah, I
games
get
just
why
aren't
you
built
say
for
that
it.
because it has time controls as well, which
It's been done. I don't know. Speaking of being done, Gilwin, have you got an idea of what to do with your turn?
sorry, we all taught Toby.
Yeah, I was waiting for you all to finish conversation
Oh, okay.
during the middle of a fight. I'm gonna cast light
Should
on
have just sat there and screamed 6 seconds.
Light on yourself.
cast light on the amulet that I have.
How much
I can
light does
see.
light make? Is it 60 foot?
2020.
2020. So I'll just do this.
I knew that.
please. I should. You know what it is? Lanterns. You guys in the Monday game fuck around with lanterns all the time, and it's fucked with me. And you actually
Have you got your dark vision goggles on, Dean?
Has Dean forgotten that Gelwin's had dark vision goggles for like this entire part of the campaign? That's good. You do see Tanuma
I'm grieving.
visibly flinch from the light being cast, being like actually a pure blood drow. That actually probably hurts. But that's fine. She should have a nameplate.
Done. I was useful.
Hey, now.
You're an
Indira.
all-star.
No, you're not. That's the problem. This is almost as bad as Will Graham not adding the armor class for his shield, but playing with a shield for like half of the Here Be Heroes campaign.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was a good time.
I used my bonus. I can't rage this turn.
Yep.
I wanted to go here. But I used my bonus action to blink or Misty Step.
We understand, Blink.
Mhm. Whoa! That's a hit.
Okay.
Where was that earlier?
And right, I will do it.
Wow.
Just saying. That is also a hit.
Again. Nice.
While it's made of metal, it doesn't seem to be the toughest metal. It doesn't seem to be designed to be necessarily armory. You know, the strikes dent away at it. You know, the axe can even just freaking cleave in and then be pulled back. You know, the creature is going to attack with its whirring weaponry. It's going to use the whirring spinning saw blade on Indira. And is going to hit. Yeah! You know what's up.
I'm sorry, I can't make a good whirling saw blade with my mouth.
That's pretty good.
It
I would
was
have
the-
known.
It was the
if I
energy.
didn't know.
It was the energy.
I would've-
It was like when Megan used to make monster noises.
Oh, they were.
It doesn't matter whether they're good or not. It's the commitment.
They were something.
That's going to be 9 slashing damage on Indira as the blade just in. As Vale's like, what the? Literally, a stick is just going to go out of the edge, and it's gonna hit.
Oh, it's just like a metal pole. Just
Yeah,
goes
just a metal
boom.
pole just comes out, and then goes back in, and a little cap just over that little segment. It's going to deal.
For story purposes, by the way, when she gets hit, that's when she rages.
Nice.
Just for story.
That's going to do 4 piercing damage, halved to 2. And then
She
is going
sticks her
to
tongue in the saw blade. She's like,
attack Indira again with a kind of almost like a metal hand. It's kind of like a fist slams into the side, and that's going to deal 10 bludgeoning damage. Of course, halved. This
Not half.
one.
I'm not raging yet.
Oh,
Okay.
not yet. You're raging next turn. These two, you kind of hear them mutter out their noise. They kind of move a little bit, and from one of the arms, almost like a a sci-fi ray gun kind of thing,
Fucking
kind of
shotgun
shakes
comes out.
and just shoots a blast of fire at Vale,
oh my god.
which hits.
Of course it does. It's a flamer.
Yeah, flamers always hit.
automatically
I
hits
get
its
it.
target.
I get what you're laying down.
Wounds.
It's going to do 8 fire damage. This one is going to do the same to Gilwyn.
Oh, no.
Shoot with the ray gun
Ilwyn's already on
for
fire.
12 fire damage and kind of
Yeah.
skitter its way over the ruins.
At least I saw it because I cast light, which enabled me to see. Because I couldn't see otherwise.
Vale.
Stabby, stab.
That's a hit.
I'm gonna stab one more eye. And it will be a federal crime.
That is a kill. As you strike in such a way, you then send the whole thing going down to the ground, and it clatters, and some of the hatches open, revealing this fleshy, tentacly beast inside. Its eyes kind of just...
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's the thing I saw.
It's
One,
basically
two, three,
a
four, five, six.
shape of flesh with too many eyes, too human a mouth, and tentacles.
You just described my ex-wife.
No one
It's a
appreciates
classic.
ex-wife jokes more than me.
Dean Cunningham. No.
Number 2. She is going to actually go up through the body, take a bunch of parts, and fumble with them in her hands, moving very quickly, sort of piecing and fixing things together, and kind of pushes it into Gilwyn's hands and say, use this. You can use this in the next 5 minutes to give yourself advantage on a check.
What is it?
It's just kind of like a weird clockwork shape. It doesn't look like anything you could use. You know, it's just like kind of a weird handheld
Just like
shape of
eat
gears
this.
and cogs. Yeah. But you can kind of feel the magic inside it. Now it's you. Gilwyn?
As I run to the one to the right of me, I yell, "What do you mean, use this?" And we'll rapier this thing in the body.
Advantage.
That's going to hit.
Of course, it's advantage. It doesn't matter.
What if it's a
we
20?
re-roll here. We re-roll, Ericing. That's the rules. And that is going to be a brutal hit. Please roll damage.
Oh boy.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. The orb-like mechanical creature is going to take that hit, bowing and bouncing to the side. Also, I don't usually do this, but welcome, Raiders.
500-person raid near it.
That justifies saying hello.
Yeah.
Indira. Oh wait, anything more, Gilwin?
Hi, he plays Connor in Detroit. You just got raided by Connor from Detroit.
No way!
That's cool.
My favorite
Respect.
character in Detroit. That's so rad. So rad.
Indira, please.
Hi.
Hi, you were the best part of that game.
150% were the best part of that game. Okay.
I hope you like what you see and you stay. It's been a heavy episode so far.
Haha, okay. This sucks because I'm never gonna be able. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna rage on my way over to this guy. It looks like those guys have it pretty well handled.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just end up here. And is it a bonus action to reckless attack? It is not.
No, reckless attack you could just do whenever.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
But it affects your whole turn of attacks. But that's
I'm doing
doesn't
it.
matter. Okay. Please reckless attack against a creature that has 3 attacks per turn. I love that idea.
It's only for saving throws.
No. Reckless attack. Enemies have advantage against attacking you because you're just dropping all defense.
Oh. You're right.
You can still do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Barbarian life. Live that barbarian life. Please do.
Ollie just wants to hit you.
That's a
I'm
hit.
really glad that I
Look,
did.
this guy. These little clockwork monsters have saw blades. I absolutely want to hit people with saw blades. It's like that one Warhammer unit I have that has just a giant saw. I will sacrifice anything to make that guy get in melee. Roll the crit, please.
Oh my god.
Boom. You don't take this guy out instantly. Like the other ones, they kind of sway and move on their many mechanical limbs, bouncing back and forth. You leave large holes in the metal armor with each axe strike because the enchanted blade cleaves through the metal fairly easily. And bonus action?
I raged
Oh, yes. Sorry.
on my way over.
I'm not used to it. Alright, these guys. Let's do the one in front of Indira. The weapons all kind of snap out of the metal orb and just start attacking. Saw blades whirring, twisting. It's gonna hit. 4, 6 plus 9 slashing damage. Of course, halved because raging. Then the pronged scepter is going to launch out of the metal orb for a miss. And then is going to attempt to claw you with its hands, which is also miss. Going to be a miss.
So 4 damage total for me then.
Yeah. Even despite being reckless, you're kind of knocking it around so much that it's having a hard time getting at you with the multiple metal arms, each ending with a different type of weapon. The one between Gilwin and Vale, which I can zoom in because nothing's really going on over
A
there
little
anymore.
pathetic blob.
They're pretty terrifying.
It's
No,
a pathetic
pathetic.
blob inside a metal exosuit coated in weaponry.
Imagine if Vale was in a metal exosuit coated in weaponry.
Hey, there's still 12 levels of time, right? It is going to make a saw blade attack against Vale. It's going to miss. Prong Scepter attack against Gilwyn, which... Gilwyn, what's your AC right now?
17.
So you're telling me a 11 doesn't hit. Okay. And then it's going to make a Bashing Rod attack against Gilwyn, which does hit, which is going to be for 7
Can I
bludgeoning.
use my reaction to pop shield?
Yes!
My amulet.
Please do. So as it swings with one of the metal claw arms, kind of using the broadside of it, because they're pretty large, the symbol of your mother's magical symbol kind of extends out from the amulet. The blade clashing against it. Vale.
Vale will commend Gilwyn on not dying. He's like, not bad, and then stabs a booming blade into this thing's body. No, I did say body. I have advantage. It's the pressure.
Please reroll with advantage.
I Eric it.
Oof.
That's okay, baby. The sneak attack coming
Okay,
hard.
less oof. These things don't have any sort of resistance. It's kind of focused a bit more on Gilwyn. And knowing that there's a gooey part inside, you know, you're just trying to find your way inside.
Oh my god, it's still not dead.
No.
Dear. I will stab it with the old faithful. The new old faithful. Rip OG
That's
old
a hit.
faithful.
That's the real heartbreak. The real loss.
That was sad. And I lost my mother's bow as well.
That's probably sadder.
That is sad.
Tanuma 2 is just going to kind of groan. It's like, you'll know when you need to use it. Just use it. And we'll go up and we'll pull from a small pouch a glove that she pulls on, and then basically slaps her hand onto the side of the orb. Acid glows from the glove. You felt what this does. Tanuma will deal a bunch of acid damage to it, which is actually doubled because this thing in its exosuit counts as a construct. I dropped my dice though, so that's a little sad. I'm gonna just roll it on here. And that is going to just eat a massive hole in the side of the exoskeleton as her break form spell just burns away a large chunk of the metal. Gilwyn, now you can see this thing up close as it's kind of like inside the suit. It's kind of like the inside of a Dalek, right? That's probably the best comparison.
I was thinking that as well.
Yeah.
Just like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the hit movie Predator, I say, "You are one ugly motherfucker," and I'll stab it with my rapier. No, not with advantage, Dean.
Yeah, with advantage.
With advantage, Dean. And luck, because I miss.
You do miss. Sorry, I was pimping myself out.
That's all right. If ever there's a time. That hits, right? 20?
Yes. When you luck, do you still get advantage? Or do you just roll one dice? I'll allow it for now.
You definitely
Look
roll
that up.
one.
I think you just roll one dice. I'll allow it for now because
I can
don't care.
re-roll.
But no, and Gilwyn, this is a kill. After Tuma opened a hole in its side, what? Please describe what you do.
I will stab it into that hole and push as hard as I can until I hear like a pop or a squelch of some sort.
Like a really
And then just
loud spot popping.
slowly slide out.
Indira, talking about slowly sliding it out.
Fuck it, let's go reckless again. Bud.
Okay.
I like crits.
That's a hit.
It's not a crit, but
It's not a crit. It's a big hit, though.
again.
Please roll damage.
Will do.
That is not a kill on this creature, unfortunately. Admittedly, you're taking out... sorry, cut out for a second there. That's not a kill.
Not what? Sorry.
It's not a kill.
Is
It's
it?
still going on. No, but it does take that damage from your electric aura.
All right.
But it does get a turn off against you, in which it's going to... It's just going to go full out attack at this point. You kind of see a moment where it's like... looking at the others who are destroyed, and just kind of goes all in. More mechanical arms snap out of the metal orb. It's going to hit with the saw blade, which of course is the best attack, for 8 slashing. It's going to hit with the scepter for 9 piercing, and miss with the smashing attack. Vale.
Vale gives Gil the old thumbs up. Good job. Maybe I am rubbing off on you. And then beelines it up to this one where he's going to steal Indira's glory. Schwonk.
You steal in glory. Please describe. This one isn't pierced open like the other one.
It's like doing all its tentacle arms like zzz in front of Indira, and then you just see the glowing tip of a sword just go tunk through the metal, and it goes and stops wriggling. And then Vale's on the other side grinning, puts his foot on it and pulls the sword out. Hello?
Indira's panting and like the rage is subsiding, and she's like, remind me to call you when I can't open a jar of pickles.
Good line. We are actually a little over, so we're going to take a break for a few minutes, just a couple. We'll be back after that, as you can go through Tuma's base and see what the state is like after those creatures clearly looted it. We'll be back in a sec.